Hi, Toots. Our name's on the door. She looked up and seen it all before. Friends of the band. She knew the true friends would want to pay for the $5 cover charge, the $15 CD and the $20 t-shirt. But nah. Freedoms, I tells you. Everything free. She looked down and around her little dinky desk set up with a crumpled A4 page with the band names and set times, a till with a small float and an ink stamp of a burnt koala so punters could go out the back alley for a quick up against the wall knee tremble, then a smoke. She looked for the names. One name was there, but the other three weren't. Yet another try on. She wished she had a second stamp that said dickhead. She was the door bitch.
I can let one of you in, but you'll have to check with Desi, the band leader.
As the guest list name walked off to find Desi, the other three were sullenly clamping the 1.5 metre doorway as the 5 other punters for the night tried to squeeze their way through. Pay the honest $5 and start making love to the first of their 10 pints of craft beer for the night. Alcoholics, reprobates and door takes. The only way this dive bar could stay open, like all the dive bars in town, lurching between bankruptcy and cholera, depending on the Melbourneian temperature on any given week. The special tonight was the Velvet Sledgehammer Pilsner, made with a secret recipe along with the deft touch of the fist of Shag and Malone breweries, essentially a converted meth lab in an Altona Meadows back shed. It was cheap and it was nasty, but it started to come around after the third scull, when the aroma livened up and the punter's eyesight started to fade. The door bitch was used to the smell of sweat, stale beer and resentment by now. Seemed she became immune many moons ago. She came to this town from the bush. Then she was wide-eyed, bushy-tailed, and her smiles were filled with wonder and expectations. Sasha Dispel knew that deep in her heart there was still that wonder, and the defensive shell that grew around it was just as big a part of her as the little girl inside her, the part she desperately clung on to still. Even now, those hopes and dreams were what made her special. Tough door bitch, sure, but a heart of gold still hanging on. Just. The punter came back with the band leader, Desi. Desi Arnaz and the Lucille Ballers were the typical bar band that looked great on Facebook but could only ever get their cousins and sisters to a gig. His family was close-knit, so close-knit sometimes the cousin and the sister were the same person. "It's okay, Slinky, let 'em in," Desi says. "They're my cousins. Maybe after the gig you might like to come up to our share house." He slowly winks at Sasha Dispel. Sasha coolly replies in a low tone.
You know, Desi, I can help you hit some of those high notes you're always trying to get.
Desi leans over and says, "Yeah, I'd love a private lesson." The smile from Desi's face quickly disappeared as the pointed metal tip of Sasha Dispel's red stiletto made contact with Desi Arnaz's left testicle. The ruckus brings out the bar manager, Rance Mohammeds. "Sash, go take a break, sweetheart. I'll clean up this mess." Sasha Dispel goes to her room on the second floor. From her room at the dive bar, she lays on the bed. She opens her journal and rereads what she wrote the night before.
75, 100, 1001 days since I felt your lips on my tongue. 15, 99, 13, some beats of my heart feel tight as a drum. 88, 22, 45, none. Moments caught wishing to become one. One day, someday, yesterday, done. Times the sun rises, time soon come.
She falls asleep, trying to remember why she wrote it. Yesterday was about to feel like a long time ago. Sasha Dispel still had her eyes closed but could feel something wasn't right. As her eyes flickered, she leaned over to the side table and mumbled.
Oh, shit!
As the clock read midnight. She'd fallen into the land of Zeds and missed her shift. She went to get up, but something was hogging the sheets.
Oh, shit!
She yelled. It was Desi Arnaz, laying on top of the bed, staring at the ceiling. He was dead, his mouth open in a look of stunned surprise. The last time Sasha Dispel saw a mouth like that, it had a hook in it. She got up, wondered what the hell happened, then saw flickering blue lights outside the dive bar bedroom window. It was the jazz police. Sasha Dispel was on the hook and she knew it. She quickly made her way to the back fire escape and hightailed it to her Datsun 180B, parked in the back lane. She fired up the 4 cylinders, but the smoke and the whining of the ancient shitbox had the jazz police turn and start running toward her. She made out the lane, but knew she couldn't stay ahead of them for long. The jazz police were on her tail, and she needed help. She yelled at her phone.
Hey Siri, ring Liver Lips.
The telephone in Karl Karma's office rang. It scared him half out of his secretary. Karma picked up the phone. It was her. It started okay, but ended badly. Then it started again. Then it ended even more badly. Karma knew she was a good girl, but he liked her bad girl better.
Karma, I'm in trouble. Desi Arnaz turned up in my bed, dead. The jazz police are onto me. I know the corner's here, but I'm on the hook if I head out onto the straight.
Sash, where are you now? Karma asked, as his secretary leaned further over the desk to grab another cigarette and her underpants. Sasha's Datsun's 180B doors were rattling while the exhaust was spewing black smoke all the way over the Westgate Bridge.
I'm heading towards your pad. I'm nearly at the Willie Road exit.
Get off the freeway, Sash, and head towards Brooklyn. The pollution there will cover your car's smoke. I remembered that car. In better days, I was sometimes invited onto the back seat. I remembered the smoke from that shitbox well. The only thing was that the smoke from an old flame had a sweeter smell. Sash, park the shitbox around the corner so it doesn't attract attention. Sasha Dispel weaved her way around the western suburb back roads like a COVID denier weaving their way to a sneaky Tinder date outside Melbourne's 5k limit. She made it to Karma's pad as Karma's secretary was walking out. They both knew. They knew Karma. Karma knew them. There were times when they all knew together. The secretary gave Sasha a rueful smile and said,
I hope he closes your case soon. Mine's still open.
Sasha, what's going on? Karma asked as he put his Dax back on.
We were putting on a Freedom's jazz dance night. The boss invited that COVID denier Desi Arnaz and the Lucille Ballers to play. He was being his usual sleazy self and rants. The boss told me to take a break. I went upstairs to my room, I fell asleep, and he wakes up dead in my bed.
Well, sweet cakes, you've nearly killed me a few times. There were times I had to put a sticker on my liquor. Okay, Sash, clean yourself up and we'll ditch the Datsun for my Be-Bop Volkswagen. As Dispel was re-perfuming and powder puffing, I snuck outside, looked around for the jazz police and went to work shading Sasha's shitbox. I walked back in and there she was, all dressed up, smiling at me just like the good old days of former glories. Years ago, January 2020. The days when I was going to take the coin from the next paid gig and use it to put a sunroof in her Datsun so she could have more leg room. I told her to put 2 masks on, one for disguise and the other for the stupid. There seem to be a lot of stupid floating about these days. Even private dicks have health and safety codes. We quietly made it back to the dive bar. Detective Ornette Coltrane of the Jazz Police was slapping the big house bracelets on Rance Muhammad's, the bar manager. I told Sasha to wait in the car, mask up, head down, like the good old days. Detective Coltrane spotted me and waved me through. What gives, Coltrane? I asked. Coltrane grabbed Rance Muhammad's by the elbow and swings him towards the back of the fuzz box while the Jazz Police as one broke into a chorus of "You're going home in the back of a Diddy van." Coltrane grabs a smoke and starts telling the tale. The dive bar was putting on a COVID denier dance night. Desi Arnaz turns up soused on a bottle of vodka. Virulently passive-aggressive, he skulked around sneering at the bar manager, Rance Muhammad's, who hired him. As the night progressed, Arnaz's mood sunk even lower while the rest of the band tried to battle through the night. He sings drooling and dribbling into the mic like Jimmy Page after 3 bottles of white wine. Somehow, the combination of drool on the cheap mic, lack of grounding and the poor wiring at the gig combine with his guitar rig to complete the circuit to start zapping the shit-faced singer. Be-Bop, Lula, she's a married. Arnaz tried to continue singing, slobbering all the more, making the electrical connection all the more complete. Bemused COVID deniers stopped to look at the manic durations of Desi Arnaz getting zapped by this musical cattle prod. She's the girl with the tight blue The Lucille ballers fall apart laughing. The audience starts laughing. The band took a break to find the problem. Arnaz pissed off in disgust, holding his throat, coughing and spluttering, leaving his equipment behind. We got a call that there was trouble. We turned up and the finger was pointed at the door bitch, getting into the car. I sent some boys after her while I went inside and checked things out. Turns out the bar manager soaked Desi's microphone with Glen 20 and loosened a few electrical connections. Combine the Glen 20 with the spit, the drool and the electricity and you've got a one-way ticket to the eternal door take in the sky. He didn't die straight away though. It might have looked accidental, but Rance Muhammad's big mistake was to put Sasha in the frame. He sneaks dead Desi into the door bitch's room. He turns up dead in her bed, but there's none of her prints on the empty can of Glen 20. Dead Desi owed Rance a bag of box. Desi promised a full house, but only got a shit house. That was Rance Muhammad's last straw. Yet another empty room would have bankrupted Muhammad's. He was going to go the Swagman Wayside Inn fire sale for the insurance. The door bitch knew the motive. He had to rub her out as well. Karma lit another smoke and said, Coltrane, she's no door bitch. She's Sasha Dispel, one of the town's gig angels. She decided to own her title in between all the COVID bitch slaps. She's a good girl. Coltrane nodded. They both knew. Karma turned around and waved towards his Be-Bop Volkswagen. Sasha Dispel opened the door and slowly walked towards Karma and Coltrane. You're off the hook, Sash. It was Rance Muhammad's all along. Sasha Dispel let out a sigh. Coltrane looked on as she held on to Karma. Okay, Karma. Go find her a new home while we take Muhammad's off to the Lavy Lakes Prison and Reception Centre. We sat in the Be-Bop Volkswagen and looked at each other. I looked into her deep blue, beautiful eyes. In fact, one eye was so beautiful, The other one couldn't stop looking at it. Here we were again. Our relationship was like a motel bed on a wedding night. Up and down, up and down, up and down. She put her mask back on and I said, "Ring the secretary, sweetheart. Tell her to get back to the office and boil up a jug of coffee and freeze a litre of gin. It's going to be a long night." Sasha Dispel leaned across, kissed Karma on the cheek and whispered,
Karma, there's still time to get that sunroof put in.
Oh, I hope you enjoyed that sordid tale. There we are. You only live once.